It is my pleasure to have as my guest today our High Commissioner to Kenya and Barbados' permanent representative to the United Nations in Kenya, none other than His Excellency Alex McDonald. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Vic. Thank you.
So, you've been there a couple of years now, and your family is there, your lovely twin girls and your wife, your beautiful wife, and you have been really establishing those fundamental links between Barbados and the African continent. But I want to talk a little bit today about Kenya and about your experiences and living there, Alex, because even though Africa is the mother country, and even though Ghana and Kenya and Barbados, we have been developing these relations and relationships, I don't think that we really know a lot about life in this part of the world. And through you, I have seen so much that is awesomely beautiful, amazing, interesting, fascinating, and mind-blowing. And I wanted to capture a little bit of that before you headed back to Kenya on your assignment. So, welcome to the Red Couch.
So, Vic, thank you. I think your premise is actually very good. A lot of us have an impression of what we think Africa is, and it's never really what it is. Because Africa, as I showed some people, I was giving a talk to Rotary, and I said, you know, the way we see Africa on the map, it's tilted a little bit down. So it looks a lot smaller than it actually is. But you could actually put China, India, the United States of America, most of Europe, Japan, lots of countries, cram them in there, and you'd still have space for a few of our islands knocking about, liberally scattered. So the vastness of the place tends to drive the culture and what you experience. It is so big that even in a country such as Kenya is 224,000 square miles.
Wow.
For reference, Great Britain is 96,000, so it's 2.5 times Great Britain, with 50 million human beings in it. Kenya, for instance, what's not known, it is the birthplace, the cradle of our humanity. The first footprints from a hominid are trapped in Kenya, Lake Turkana. Lake Turkana is the lake that borders South Sudan and Kenya. And it's a big, long lake, but it's very, very dry. And that's where we're hearing about the drought in Kenya. And those people look. They will ask you when you go there, how is Kenya? Because for them, they don't know where they are, because they drift from Sudan to Ethiopia to Uganda. They're nomadic, and where they stay is where they are for now. And true to kind, Africa is so vast that nobody really enforces who you are. You just kind of walk about the place. Then you go to the south, where you have the famous Maasai. The Maasai are tremendous people. In the past, you could only be a man and marry if you killed a lion with your hands, given the fact you had a spear. But if you can think about it, if you had to kill a lion, when you see a lion,
there'd be a lot of unmarried men around, or dead men.
For sure, I would be one of them, because we were just 10 feet away from a lion and I was making it 20, going the other way. But you truly can't understand how a country like Kenya is until you put your feet down on that ground. So it is constantly changing. 60% of Kenyans are under the age of 30. So 6 in every 10
population.
6 in every 10 people you see are going to be 29 and under. So it's the energy that population drives. It's a lot of energy. The way the people drive, the way people interact and talk and so on. But they're very charming, and they're very controlled and reserved. So an older person people will always step out of the way for. If an old lady is walking, they will take her bags for her and carry her as far as there I'm going. Kenyans are what I would call the great the great limers. You'd be walking with a Kenyan, a normal person on the road, and they say, "Oh, I'm tired," and they would just sit right down where they are. What are you doing? Sitting on the grass, sitting on the side of the road, sit anywhere. And you see hundreds of people just lying down on the side of the road, or you think it's like some kind of mass death happened. People just taking a rest. It's long.
I see that in Hyde Park a lot, so maybe the British got
Maybe
that
the British got it from them.
the Kenyans, yeah.
But probably one of the most remarkable things that you will experience in Kenya, not in Africa, but in Kenya, is the climatic zones. So on the coast, it feels like here. And as you take those 8 hours to drive from Mombasa to Nairobi, the climate becomes milder and milder as you go up higher and higher. So Mombasa is 0 feet above sea level. Nairobi, 5,900 feet above sea level.
But when we think of Kenya and we think of Africa, perhaps one of the first things that come to mind is this whole idea of the safari and so on. So how real is that, and have you experienced anything like that? And what exactly, to a Bajan coming to Kenya, surely that would have to be fairly high on the agenda of things.
I think Vic is like a tourist coming here and not going to the beach. Be as crazy as that would be. Safari in Kiswahili means journey. So you could literally say, I'm going on safari to the supermarket. So safari itself does not mean the wild adventure that we think about.
Okay.
But going on safari to the Masai Mara, which is an iconic place to go. That's where every National Geographic has the wildebeest jumping over going through the river, and the crocodiles pulling them down, and the dramatic music playing, and David Attenborough saying, "Yeah, they are trying to evade," and you know, that's where it is, you know. And these crocodiles are huge. We have been on many safaris.
Really?
And it is something that you think that you're in a movie because you cannot believe where you are and what you're seeing. Most safaris, the safari trucks, cars, trailers are open-sided, so there's no windows that you're standing beside. It's open. It's just a roof, a 4x4, and you're going there. And one of the most touching moments was when we were parked and a herd of elephants just walked through us, just shambled past us, and you could see their eyes looking in as they're passing, and the trunks going into the car and smelling, seeing what's here. And they're moving on. You can see them, the tears, you know, they're always dripping tears, and you can see, and literally if you'd pushed your hand out, you could have touched the skin. But they always tell you, keep your hands in, you never know what may freak them out. And when the herd had just almost passed us, the driver said, we have to move on. Very calmly, and we started to move away. And I said, why? He says, look across there. And from the far distance, you saw this ever-enlarging spot coming closer and closer and closer until you can make out barely there's another elephant. But it is big from that far. And so you say, oh, okay. And then when he's moving at pace, huh? So these elephants, when they're running, they eat the earth, as they call it. And this huge is now right into your view. There's a little swamp there, so he's not going to come through immediately, but he is right at the end. And there's this massive bull. He is wondering, what is this truck doing in his herd? So he's standing 3 miles off, observing what's going on. And this huge bull, tusks, sweeping tusks. And he's there and he's blowing. And like the females are, okay, chill out, Skipper. It's all right. We already figured out what's going on. And he, and then, and I'm saying, can you move accelerations, please, you know? And but that's some of the things. I mean, when you see these huge lions and the buffalo, the Cape buffalo, we had the privilege of visiting the last 2 white rhinos in the world. It was poignant because my children touched them, fed them, we fed them carrots and so on. My grandchildren will not. They'll be dead by that time.
You did any overnight camping?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Vic.
So this is glamping or old style camping?
In Kenya, tourism is safari tourism. And there are a lot of Americans. Americans are not sleeping on the ground. Victor, they're not. And I am not sleeping on the ground.
Neither me.
Neither me, neither.
I'm not American, but I'm not sleeping on the ground in Kenya.
So these safari camps, beautiful camps, they're tented. And you first see, oh, these massive tents, big tents. But then they're floored, shower in the back.
Oh, this
lovely
is definitely
beds,
glamping.
Lovely sitting area. You open up. When you go, it's typically like a hotel room, but under canvas. Nice sides, but there are no fences. So at any time, elephants are walking through in the night. But around the camp, there are Maasai guards. So they watch out for lions or rhinos or whatever.
Alex McDonald, Barbados' High Commissioner to Kenya, my very dear friend. He's also our permanent representative to the UN agencies in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. It has been an absolute pleasure. We need a part 2, part 3, and a part 4 because we haven't even talked about your work and the mission, and I'm going to leave that for your final comment in terms of, how do you assess the work that you've been able to do as our High Commissioner in Kenya, but to also thank you for the opportunity. I know you're traveling later today to take some time out this morning and come here to Capital Media.
Thank you so much, Vic, for asking us. We're always happy to talk about, what we do. So when people say, oh, Balozi, which is an ambassador, you're from Barbados, oh my gosh, tell me more about it. And then we say, well, they say, show me where it is. And then you go to the map and they say, oh, how many people? 300,000. I go, such a small country, such a big voice. They're always astonished at how, on the global stage, at least certainly in the recent past, that we have really become an influential partner for them. I think our government's view, Prime Minister Motley has very clearly said that we are combined, our destiny between CARICOM and Africa are combined. So I think that philosophy drives our interaction with our African counterparts. So there's so much we can talk about in relation to that. But what I would want Barbadians to know is that people do know us. People have a very high regard for us. And it would be useful and good if we were to come and experience the real Africa, not your stereotype.
Thank you very much. I plan to take him up on that offer to come and see Kenya. And on your next visit, I want to talk a little bit more about the work that you have been able to do on behalf of Barbados. But thank you very much once again for being my special guest.
Thank you, Vic, so much.